Hello, welcome. If you've been designing website for a while, you notice that after a couple months of stable, fast blazing website, you notice website starts going a little more slower than it's used to. So today we are going to learn how to speed up your website 3 times more than it was when you first created it. Now, some people will blame this on plugins. Some will blame it on the kind of builder you're using, whether Elementor or Oxygen builder or whatever. Some will blame it on the hosting company, which they are right, okay? Any of these blames are right, but it is important to point out which particular blame is actually the current situational problem we're having. So you don't end up fixing a problem and realizing that's actually not the problem. Now, what I mean by this is some time ago, I had a website I made for a client, and after a couple of months, it's an e-commerce website, by the way. After a couple of months, things started going south or west. So I actually never knew what to do. I had to upgrade the hosting plan, thinking that was the problem, but I had to upgrade from a shared hosting plan to a cloud hosting plan. Yet the website was slow, even slower than it was before I did the upgrade. Now, when you upgrade the website, the IP changes. But today I'm going to teach you how to run a proper setting, just a little bit tiny settings in your hosting, and this applies to any hosting company you're using. So in this case, we'll be using the hosting company as a case study. Okay, now this is very simple trick. Okay, I will go straight to the point. I just had to explain and make you understand what the problem could be, so you understand where to actually fix it from. Now, if your website is slow from onset, like from when you are building the website, it is slow. It has been slow from the beginning of the launch. You know you need to upgrade your hosting plan. But if it was fast during the launch, then after a while, a couple of months, maybe a month or two, you start noticing some kind of lag, and you are sure that you have actually minified the amount of plugins that you're using. Maybe you're not using too many plugins, like 20 plugins, 40 plugins or so. Then this particular trick is for you. It works like magic. Just take 24 hours to populate and everything gets fine. So we are going to get into it straight to the point. Now, this simple trick is for you to actually point your hosting plan to a particular location where the hosting company itself have their headquarters. This is just a simple trick. Okay? Now, some persons will say, point this. Before I get into that, let's just get in and start this. I'm going to tell you the rest of the things I experienced and also how to avoid those while on this particular course. So now we are in the home page. On Hostinger, you can access this from multiple places. You can access it from your hosting plan. You can access it from clicking on manage from here. So we click on the hosting, then we click, instead of clicking on this pen actually is telling you to edit this. Instead of clicking this, all you need to do is to click on manage, and this is where you are going to find that edit. So here they write North American, US, AZ. So you are going to click on that. Now, mind you, if you are actually pointing this hosting company from this particular plan to another location in this particular hosting company, if you are pointing this hosting plan from a particular location to another location in this hosting company, you are invariably telling them to change your IP. So it's no longer your existing IP. We're going to talk about IP and effects of changing an IP in our future course. But for today, just understand this as the basics, okay? Now, some people will say, like what I was saying before I switched to this. Some people will say, point this to a location very close to your location. Okay, now I used to say this before, I used to teach this before, but I realized this doesn't work well for hosting companies that have multiple websites in them. So if you have a bunch of websites inside of a particular hosting company, do not point to the location closest to you. You can only do that if you have about 2 websites in a singular hosting company or 1 website in a singular hosting company. When I used to have all those singular hosting companies, when I've not upgraded my hosting plan to a cloud host, I never had any issue. Okay, pointing it to the closest location to me was the best thing to do. But when you're having like 5 websites in a hosting company or so, you don't need to take that option. I think the location of Hostinger, their headquarter location is this USA AZ. Okay, so if your hosting is pointed to Europe, France, you have to come back to this particular place. If you are noticing that lagginess in your websites, you have to come back to this part. Click on it and click on North American AZ. Okay, when you click on this, you can click on next and proceed. Now, when you do these changes, your IP address will change. That's number 1. And number 2 is that you can't redo this or undo this until 30 days is elapsed. So you have to wait till 30 days exhausts before you can change to another IP. Now, when you initiate this, it takes about 24 hours to propagate. Okay, so the population takes about 24 to 48 hours. So you need to wait. During that period, some websites in your hosting account may not be accessible. So you should bear this critically in mind. And changes you make to your website during that period won't actually save or be backed up. So when you switch this, click on next and you are good to go. When you click on next, you receive this information. The server transfer is free of cost. All websites under the hosting plan will be moved to the United States of America data center, okay, which is I told you about this. This is their hosting headquarter. And why it's important, I'll talk about that in a little while. Then the IP address of your hosting plan will be changed. Let me zoom this closely so you can see everything clearly. Changes during the transfer process won't be saved and are not recommended. Now, what this particular last one means is that, some hosting plan, the backup processes take about 1 week, 7 days to do a fresh backup. So you get new backup every 7 days. But for cloud hosting, you get backup every 24 hours. So if you have a backup system that supports only 7 days, any changes or any design you've done to any of this website during that 7 days won't save. They won't save. If you did changes 4 days before you actually move this, that particular change will be wiped. So it's best advisable, the best practice is you back up your website manually before you proceed with this particular action. So now this server, they say the website here will be moved to United States of America data center. Like I was saying before, this United States of America, this North American AZ, US AZ is actually their hosting headquarter. Now, why this is important is because the hosting headquarter is actually giving higher priority in services. So in the servicing of this particular hosting server, they give it higher priority than other hosting outlets. So they have hosting in Asia, they have in Africa, they don't have in Africa, they have in Asia, they have in South Korea and stuff like that. So many places like as you can see from the drop down. Now, it is important to note that it doesn't mean that as this particular United States of America will be supported for all websites you are actually moving to that location. If more of the websites that are in your hosting plan are websites from a certain location, point it to that location. You will see all location plans from here. You can check out from the map. Okay, when you try to move, you can scroll down, you can see all locations. So if your continent is closer to Singapore or to Asia, you point it to that location. Now, these are the countries where this particular hosting company are situated or where they are stationed. And these are the continents. Okay, so they are in Asia, double places in Asia. They are in India and Singapore in Asia. They are in South America, Brazil, to be specific. They are in Europe, Lithuania. They are in Europe again, in United Kingdom. And they are in Europe, Netherlands. And they are in Europe, France. Okay? Now, they are in North America, USA, AZ. So I think this particular one, I'm speculating, but you can make your research. I think this particular one is the hosting headquarter, and that is why it blazes very fast once you point your hosting to this particular location. So if it doesn't work for you, you can still switch to another location, but make sure you switch locations, United Kingdom and United States. Those two are my most prioritized or my most recommended. But the best recommendation I'll give to you is North American AZ. They usually used to have North American NP, but I think they have removed that particular option, or is the option, maybe the option is for cloud host, because I saw that from mine. This is a shared host, and I don't think they have that particular option for here. So when you do this, you are good to go. Save it, and it will take 24 to 48 hours to populate or propagate. And once it's done, as you can see from here, once it's done, automatically your website will be live again, and you notice high rates of speed, about 30% plus speed added to your website. Like if your website takes about 5 seconds to load, it's going to take now 3 seconds to load. So that is it, guys. My name is Manuel from Kata Studios. I think it was wise enough to bring this into light to make us understand, because I have been putting up a lot of tutorials there actually to teach how to make your website faster, but this particular option wasn't something I took into consideration. Still, I noticed a problem from my own end, so I had to put up a tutorial like this to make it very clear so you don't misunderstand from the previous courses that we have made. So that is it for wrap up for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and it's very easy to do. I will recap. Once you get to your hosting dashboard, click on hosting, click on the website management, and you will get to this part. Click on this to activate the activated version. Click on it and select the location you want, and next, then accept. You don't need to do much thing from there. As soon as you're done, you will receive a prompt in your email that your IP address has been moved to the location you preferred. If you like this video, smash the like button. Comment if you want me to produce another video like this. If there's any video you want us to actually create web design, you can drop that in the comment section below. I will be there to read it out, and it may be actually included. Shout out to the persons who actually commented in the last videos. Shout out to all of you. From my next video, I'll be mentioning names. For now, I want to thank you all for being part of this. Until we meet next time, do have a wonderful day.